Yeah, so I don't think Jonathan Kuminga should care about how he fits with LeBron because you're staying with Luka and LeBron's not going to be there very much longer. So I don't see why that would be a factor. I mean, even just like if he was concerned about it just within this season, how would it be any worse than what he's dealing with currently in Golden State, in terms of not being involved at all in the rotation until Jimmy Butler gets hurt? Like, even if he got to play in LA and it was clunky with LeBron, it'd be better than him not playing in Golden State. And then LeBron would eventually leave. I just don't particularly like Kuminga for the Lakers as a fit. I think that he's going to be pretty expensive. And I think once you start talking about pretty expensive players, you're looking for a certain amount of two-way viability in a winning context. And I don't think Kuminga is good enough on either end.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's a little bit of a couple of the concerns with the current roster in terms of, I think there's a little bit of DA there in his, like, he needs the ball, he needs to be involved offensively, and if he's not, you're like, we've seen it in Golden State, if he's not starting or playing a certain amount of time, getting a certain amount of touches, which I like, if you're giving up a first round pick or you're investing and trading for him, I assume you are putting him in a position to be featured to a degree. But at the same time, with the current structure of the Lakers hierarchy, he's at best going to be the fourth option. And if you are just plugging in Kuminga as, if that's the 3-and-D guy that the Lakers are, or that's the big acquisition, that's the big piece that they're adding in, I just don't think he's quite good enough defensively or consistently, consistent enough defensively to plug that hole in. So I think you have some of the Ayton stuff that we talk about with the motor and like the needs the ball, needs touches to be at his best. Then you also have, I think, some of the Rui overlap of, I think he's better defensively than Rui, but again, I don't think he's quite at, like, if the Lakers were to trade for him, he would start and probably play the role of like defensive stopper. And I don't think you want to put your playoff chances on Kuminga being your best perimeter defender, at least with the starting group. So I just see a little bit of like Kuminga, LeBron, Luka. I don't love that trio defensively. So like maybe longer term, you could talk me into it, but still, if we're talking Luka, Austin, Kuminga, I think you really need to nail those other two spots with the starting group defensively, which is something we've talked about before. And I don't have a lot of confidence in the Lakers doing that because those have been two of their weaker spots in terms of identifying talent over the last 5 years.
And that guy would have to be able to shoot because Kuminga is not a reliable catch and shoot guy. Like, it just, he doesn't thread the needle of what you need out of a large salary slot next to Luka and Austin. Like, next to Luka and Austin, if you have a massive salary slot, he's got to either be an incredible shooter, off-ball offensive player, or he's got to be an incredible defensive player. And Kuminga's neither. He's an on-ball matchup attacking forward who is very capable of going on scoring runs and has some real upside as an individual offensive player. It has not manifested in consistent success against good teams in the NBA yet, but maybe some bad team can jump on Kuminga and give him a long runway to figure that out. Maybe he becomes an all-star, but in the short term, he's not a good enough on-ball defender. He's actually a very bad off-ball defender. He's not a very good off-ball offensive player, which makes him a poor fit with Luka and Austin.
Hey, California residents, Underdog is out here giving you more ways to play. You already know their player picks, pick higher or lower on player stats. Now prediction markets are live for you. You can now pick spreads, totals, or game outcomes, combined with player picks for bigger payouts. New customers play $5 on fantasy, get $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you use our code COLLECTIVE. Team picks, player picks, all on Underdog. And don't forget, use that promo code COLLECTIVE, play $5 on fantasy, and get $75 in fantasy bonus entries. Big thank you to Underdog for sponsoring our show. With what Ryan is saying here, I do think it has the ring of truth to what these negotiations would look like. If I'm Golden State, of course, I'm asking for a first right now. If I'm the Lakers, would I be wanting to give that? No, certainly not. And Kuminga's camp, should they be concerned about a fit with LeBron? Yeah, because it's kind of similar to the problems that he's got in Golden State already. So do you really want to be in that situation again, at least for the remainder of the year? I'm sure for Kuminga, the ideal situation would be to get someplace where he can ball out for the second half of the season and then have that team option not picked up. Remember, the reporting when he first signed that deal was that the deal was being made in order to rip it up this next summer. and sign a new contract. He didn't want that team option to be picked up. Now the Warriors are essentially threatening to pick up that team option, or at least putting that out there that they're willing to do so in order to avoid losing for nothing or trading him for below market value right now at the deadline. Whether or not they'll actually do it, I don't know, but that's what they're putting out there to try to hang on to any shred of leverage they've got in the situation. But I'll tell you, if I'm the Lakers, I'm only buying on Jonathan Kuminga. First of all, I think it would have to be a deadline day deal. It would have to be a nothing else worked out for me type of deal. And the same would be true for Golden State, because I don't think the Lakers offer would be strong enough. And what I'm offering if I'm the Lakers is your expiring salaries, Maxey, Gabe, let's say you didn't find anything else for them. Maybe you're willing to give up a second round pick, something like that, just to roll the dice and see what happens in the second half of the season. You can say, well, Gabe and Maxey weren't providing anything anyway. Let's go ahead and just give this a shot, because why not? And see if there's some upside here. Otherwise, if it's got to be a heavy investment, a first round pick, something like that, on top of you got him for $24 million next season, I just see the Lakers valuing the flexibility more than that. I'd roll the dice on him and say, if it doesn't work out, hey, it's a team option and we can go into next summer as a cap space team anyway. But I don't think I'd be investing heavily into landing Jonathan Kuminga.
Can we jump to that most recent super chat for just a second?
Yep.
I totally agree. I thought the exact same thing, DJ. When I saw that, I was like, if Rob likes Jonathan, that's an indictment on his understanding of the game.
I mean, he's basically, like, we've talked about this combo guard notion of this, like, score, like, you know, the players he has targeted recently. He's almost that version in just big wing
just
form,
with cool
right?
dunks.
Like, yeah, it's like, okay, he's a 6'8". Well, I'm not going to say. I almost said a 6'8" Kendrick Nunn, which is
Oh,
all right. That's wrong. 6'8" Lonnie Walker. But like that's still like that player archetype of he needs the ball, which conflicts with your best players who need the ball and are better with the ball in their hands.
There's also some, like, I'm not a big Kuminga guy. First of all, I do think he has real value for a bad team who can afford to give him a runway, like I was talking about earlier. But I feel relatively certain that the Warriors will do better than Maxey and Gabe in the second round.
yeah. If this is what somebody said, well, why would Golden State do that? Yeah, they wouldn't. They most like this would be I'm talking the Warriors can't find some place to send him, and it's an hour before the final buzzer, and it's, hey, we just need to clear the air. Let's get this guy off of our roster type of situation for Golden State. And hey, if we get a second round pick, he hasn't been giving us anything anyway. We'll at least take a second and begrudgingly do it. Now, would they ultimately do it? No, they'd probably just keep him. I'm not saying that they would. This would be, I'd say I would be more interested if they really want a first. I'd be more interested in doing, if you do take that, I'm not saying I would do it specifically to get Jonathan Kuminga, but if the rumored taking the 2032 first and turning that into multiple lesser value first in the present is something, you get OKC's first or something this year. Okay, you're not giving up a 2031 first, 2032 first, particularly if they're expecting that to be unprotected to go get Jonathan Kuminga right now.